Welcome to Mangold Insight Studio. Today we have Roberto García Martínez, CEO at Eurobattery Minerals. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
No problem. So can you give us a short introduction to Eurobattery Minerals?
Yeah, Eurobattery Minerals is a Swedish mining company. We are listed here in Sweden in the NGM and in Germany. We have projects in Spain and in Sweden, all of them in the battery sector. So we have nickel, copper, cobalt, and recently a project in the tungsten sector.
Yeah. And you recently announced a planned majority stake investment in the Spanish company Tungsten San Juan SL. Can you elaborate on this?
Absolutely. We have the majority of the project, so the 51%. The project is a well-known project. We have reserves, we have good infrastructures. And the idea is to start the production next year. We have all the licenses in place, so it's a potential game changer for Eurobattery Minerals.
Yeah, and the development has already begun of the mine. Yeah, and what milestone expectation do you have for the project?
Well, very high, because we have a very strong data. As you said, we have already started with the operations, with some earth-moving machines and some infrastructures that we are doing. So we want just to keep going on and to have our time schedule ahead, and as I mentioned, to go in production in the second part of the next year.
Yeah. And what work needs to be conducted before you can start production?
Well, we have to build the pilot plant. Then we have announcing. We have to develop some road construction and some kind of basic infrastructure. Then already we are working with technicians and experts. So all of that is part of the program that we have just planned, and it's according to the investment program that we have presented. And we are very excited to have this opportunity, great opportunity. Tungsten is needed in Europe. Tungsten is crucial from the European industry, and we believe that this project can be very viable for the industry in Europe.
Perfect. And you also have a non-binding letter of intent for an offtake agreement with the subsidiary of Sandvik for this project. Can you elaborate on the agreement? What does it mean?
Yes, it's right. We have an agreement with Wolfram und Hütten company in Austria. The company is one of the leaders in the tungsten processors. Actually, there are only two major players in Europe, and that is one. And as you mentioned, it is a part of the Sandvik Swedish group. They know the project, they know the material. They have already made it all the analysis and all the processing tests, and they have proof that the material is right for their plans in Austria. So if we do the things according to the plan, we have already a buyer.
That's good. And what does the production and sales timeline look like?
As I mentioned it, we want to go in production in the second part of the next year. We will implement the processing plant. We will have to do some more testing, laboratory testing, but all in one is very promising.
Yeah. And also, you previously touched a little bit about the tungsten's importance.
Yes.
For Europe. And can you explain a little bit about the market dynamics?
Absolutely. Tungsten is part of the EU critical material list. Why it's important is because in Europe, only a few countries, especially in the south of Europe, produce tungsten. So we are totally dependent of tungsten outside to Europe for the production point of view. When it comes to processing, China monopolizes the processing capacities. So it is crucial and very important to have a European project of tungsten that can help to make Europe more independent from that material. Tungsten is needed in the aerospace industry, in the technical industry, but also in the defense and security industry. And obviously, that is the most important part at this stage. Just to mention that tungsten is part of the European needs material that we will need it for the next decade.
Yeah. And recently also the EU implemented the Critical Raw Materials Act.
Correct.
What does this mean for your battery?
It's a game changer. The act is a game changer. Means that some part of the processing, some part of the extraction, the recycling processes must to be placed in Europe. That is very important, and for us it's just a validation, a confirmation that we are doing the things in the right way, and that is our EABB, our mark, our how Eurobattery Minerals is working, and for us, as I mentioned, it is just a confirmation that we are doing the things in the right way.
Yeah, and also you have two other projects. One is with the Finnish project Hautalampi. Could you give us an update on the project's development?
Absolutely. We have been very active in the last years in Hautalampi in Finland. It's an old mine. We will produce nickel, copper, and cobalt there. We have two LOIs or agreements with two big tigers in the industry. For the copper with Boliden, we have an off-taker. And with Terrafame, we have an agreement to see the collaboration for the processing of cobalt and nickel. And both of them, obviously, there are major players in this industry, and for us, we are very proud to have as a partner, because obviously, as you can imagine, these two companies, they monitoring their producers, and for us, it's important to have in our side. Recently, we have the City Council has approved our zoning plan that was presented to them. So we have the knowledge and the approval for basic work, engineering basic work. That is another step forward in the project. And last year we submitted the EPA, the environmental permit application. We have been working with the authorities for a year in some supplementary documentation, and we have filled it at the beginning of summer this year. So it's a project that is moving ahead, and to have two projects in our portfolio, the tungsten project and the Hautalampi project, then both of them they will go in production with critical metals for Europe, is something that we are very proud of.
Yeah. And how does the financing situation look like?
Well, we are currently doing a cap raise. We are trying to raise 78 million SEK. The proceeds will be used more or less, approximately 25% of that is fully subscribed. Then let's hope that we can achieve that. The 25% will be for the acquisition of the project. And with that money, we will implement the pilot plan and all these necessary works that we have to do it. Then we will use approximately another 15% of that to increase the capacity of that original plant, and another 15% will be used to do a larger drilling campaign. So more than half of that money will be used for the San Juan project. The rest of the money we will use for the bankable feasibility study in Fincobal to finalize the documentation and all the information that is relevant, and the rest of the money we will use as working capital, and to be able we have all the money to repay the convertible that we have open at the moment in the books.
Yeah. And what major milestones do you expect this year for your battery?
A lot of, but especially what we are looking is to stabilize our two projects, to work according to the plan, and to be able in Spain to start production next year, as I mentioned it, and to be cash flow positive by the end of next year, and to try to to add other value to our stakeholders. You know, mining is a very dynamic industry, so we try to maximize our proceeds, to maximize our money, and to give a great value to the company and to the stakeholders.
Yeah. And if you look forward 5 years from now, where is Eurobattery?
Well, Eurobattery definitely will be one of that companies, and it will help Europe to be self-sufficient in the mining sector. As I mentioned it previously, we are depending to external countries outside of Europe. So we want to be one of that companies with 2 mines in operations, 2 mines giving the metals and the minerals that Europe needs for the industry. So we want to be one of the companies that is produce metals from Europe to Europe.
Perfect. Thank you, Roberto.
Thank you to you for the invitation today.